done on me. Couldn't get my masters in truth and loyalty. Bang out the buzzword, teaching that blind man to say. You might get the best of him, but sure, never for me. Now, sweet talk to beast, dog tail jack to go and fetch your bang. Try that and upstate boy to a different kind of scene. Went off to college, but college turned on me. Couldn't get my masters in truth and loyalty. I said, whoa, light that fuse and run. I said, whoa, I am my father's son. Light that fuse and run. Whoa, light that fuse and run. Went off to college, but college done up me. Couldn't get my masters in truth and loyalty. Bang out the buzzword, teaching that blind man to say. You might get the best of him, but you'll never fool me. Now, sweet talk to beast, dog tail jack to go and fetch your bang. Try that and upstate boy to a different kind of scene. Went off to college, but college done up me. Couldn't get my masters in truth and loyalty. I said, whoa, light that fuse and run. I say, whoa, I am my father's son. Light that fuse and run. Whoa, light that fuse and run. Whoa. But college done up me. Couldn't get my masters in truth and loyalty. Bang out the buzzword, teaching that blind man to say.
What's up, Bills Mafia? Scott coming at you from 24/7 Buff Pandemonium with your episode of the K-Gun Report. Welcome. We have a fun stuff to talk about. A couple things we didn't hit on last week. But the narrow guys, I'm going to let you know real quick. We'll talk about a couple extensions. Should we extend some of these guys that are still on this roster, or should we let them go next year? We're going to talk about possible free agents that we think will help out the Buffalo Bills still. If there was no money involved, who do you go out and grab? We're going to talk offensively and defensively. We're also going to hit on must-have at pick 30. Who is our must-have with the suspensions that we've had and the people we've brought in? And then we're going to have some fun with the rules, the new rule changes that are going to be brought up. They haven't been made yet, but there's a couple rule changes that potentially are going to come into effect for 2025. We'll get there and more. I'll hit this intro, and we'll see our buddies here in a couple seconds.
You're watching the K-Gun Report with special guest Ryan Thomas, part of the Buffalo Fan Base Network and sponsored by 26 Shirts. Enjoy the show.
What's up, Bills Mafia? As I promised, I would be back, except I got some of my good buddies and a couple brothers here. Going to enjoy the show together, guys. It's the off season. It's fun time to talk, free agency, draft, all that good stuff. Speculation, fan first perspective conversation with the Bills Mafia. We are part of the Buff Fan Base Network and sponsored by 26 Shirts. If you haven't helped 26 Shirts yet, hit them up. We help a Western New York family every time you donate, and you also increase your Buffalo Bills merch and all that good stuff. Hit them up, 26shirts.com. Go there. It's a win-win. Guys, introducing the panel for today's K-Gun Report, Season 6, Episode 2. I'll start with our special guest, Ryan Thomas, RT, from the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. What's up, Ryan?
What's going on, Scooter? What's going on, Jarrod? It is a pleasure to be the guest tonight on the K-Gun Report. Buffalo fan base, we're doing some big things here heading into this season. We got a lot up our sleeve. Stay tuned. This is just the beginning.
Oh, it's the tip of the iceberg, isn't it? We got all season and then the kickoff here in September. Can't wait for it. Jarrod, my twin brother from the same mother, looking down at his phone, probably sharing to everywhere. If you're following, guys, and you're following right along, leave a comment. We'll try to hit it up. We like to hit the comments up and get you guys involved in this conversation. Jarrod likes to share everywhere. So if you want to share us, go ahead and hit the share button, like us, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Jarrod, what's up?
Big news happened just moments ago. We'll get on top of that. Episode number 2. I'm glad I'm here. 2 in a row. That's a good start for the year. Can't wait to talk Bills football with Ryan and Scooter and the Bills Mafia. I love this time of year. It's fun. I got my wife's favorite guy sitting behind me with Stevie Johnson, and I'm wearing my favorite guy, Fred Jackson. What do you guys got on tonight?
Little bit of QB1 MVP.
Yep, same here. QB1 MVP. Jarrod, you're talking about that Johnson jersey. Am I off? Is there a conversation going on now between Stevie Johnson and Revis Island? Or is that like old news? I'm seeing stuff on social media, and it seems like they're going back and forth a little bit.
I saw that today as well, like an hour and a half ago. I think some heat's going back and forth. I think Stevie Johnson asked Revis to join him in like a DB wide receiver camp or a bring together to teach these young kids how to play ball, and there must have been some backlash for it. But Stevie's giving them hell now. And if Revis Island, he was given that name because he was a lockdown corner. Stevie Johnson has his number. He just had great games against Revis, and it was enjoyable to watch because, Stevie was this wide receiver that the Bills had. I think it was the first guy to get 2,000 or 3,000 yard receiving seasons in a row. But he's always had Revis's number. He's a great route runner. He showed his A game every time he was against him, and it was wonderful to watch. And Stevie Johnson, heck yeah.
And speaking of consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, what you were going with, one of the guys that just recently did it for Buffalo Bills, Stefon Diggs. I know we don't talk about him a lot, but I feel this is a conversation that we need to bring up at least a little bit today. Breaking news: 3 years, $69 million contract, 26 of it guaranteed. The guy suffered an ACL injury last year. Last I knew, he wasn't going to make the first game. So RT, breaking news. What do you think about that with it being a division rival?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of keep track, even though he's not on the Buffalo Bills anymore. I knew full well he would be a free agent coming off of a season, a one-and-done season, if you will, with the Houston Texans. He had that torn ACL, and there were a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation running rampant that really the New England Patriots were the only team that was in the mix for Stefon Diggs. And not only were they the only team in the mix, they were clearly the only team that was willing to make him an offer, one that he couldn't refuse at that price tag of, as you mentioned, $69 million, $26 million guaranteed for 3 years. That's quite a bit of money for a receiver that is 32, coming off of a torn ACL. But they believe that they needed a veteran wideout, somebody that could help Drake May, somebody that's proven to produce statistically in this league. And I think it's also a lot about, New England themselves and their inability to draft a redeeming wide receiver. They've had a really bad track record of drafting horrible, wideouts, as far as wideouts that were okay in the NCAA collegiate game and just did not translate whatsoever to the pro game for whatever reason that might be. But, they wanted to bring in somebody that had a little bit of a pedigree, and Diggs was really the only wide receiver that was left that has a little bit of a pedigree and a little bit of a precedent that he can produce in this league. So not shocked. I don't think it's going to work as well as the Patriots think it will, or think it, because, it kind of made me think too, like, do they expect him to be what he was for Josh Allen 5 years ago? Should they? No. So is Drake May Josh Allen? Drake May is a talented quarterback, but I think it's safe to say Josh Allen's in kind of a league of his own in terms of the talent department. So it's going to be interesting. I never want to root against a guy that contributed very, very much to this team. But at the same time, he's a division rival for a reason now. So playing for the Patriots, it's going to make things a little bit more fun this upcoming season.
Oh, for sure. And the Patriots had a shit ton of money in capital draft cap space. Jarrod, Drake May, with being such a young quarterback coming up in the ranks, I think he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the AFC eventually in the next couple of years. Not only do you think is this move, did they overspend on Diggs? And is Diggs a good locker room guy for that young of a guy, knowing potentially what we know about him and the fallout with Josh Allen and the issues that he had in Minnesota?
All right, I think year one will be a good year for Diggs. He's usually nice and quiet. It comes to the years after. My first thing I thought about with Drake May was he was a young quarterback, and a lot of people kind of put him in the same category as Josh Allen coming up. So we all know what happened with Josh Allen. He got Cole Beasley, he got John Brown, he got all these receivers to help him grow as a player, as a young guy coming up. So maybe Stephon Diggs is that guy who's going to help be Drake May's maybe is security blanket. The only issue I have is he's coming off an injury, an ACL. Diggs was known for his route running. So those quick jukes and zigs and ins and outs and backs, how well is that knee going to hold up for him? And if it does hold up, then I think he's a great asset for Drake May. Like I said, like that security blanket. But it's going to be interesting to watch.
For those of you watching the wide receiver tree, the zigs, the zags, and ins and the outs, Jarrod, he's a linebacker. He wasn't a wide receiver.
I slam your ass once you come over the middle.
Yeah. As you guys know, I had to talk about Diggs. It'll be interesting to see. I agree with you, Jarrod. I think first year is a good year, 26 guarantees. So there might be some stipulations in the back to be able to get rid of him. Who knows? As you guys know, on the K-Gun Report, we love to hit up the comments. So we're going to go right at it. We got our buddy Corey Blaine coming in.
I got to jump in on Corey quick. Corey, I got this sour monkey, sour triple for Victoria Brewing Company. He likes sour. So before I open it, I want your review if you've had it.
This is what I'm drinking tonight.
There you go.
Big Ditch.
Big Ditch. Oh, wow. Okay. Very nice.
7.0. That way I don't have to put too many down to get what I need. What up, Mafia family? Another great night to talk Bills. What's up, Corey? Our boy Patrick Hughes. What's up, Bills Mafia? How's everyone on this fine, like aged wine Tuesday? Good. There you go. We're good. Mike from YouTube. What's up, Mike? New name?
What's up,
Mike? What's up, Mafia? What's up, Mike? Love to have you. Welcome. Hey, guys, our YouTube is starting to grow a little bit again. We're like at 260. If you guys could go ahead and share like crazy, do it up, subscribe, hit it. Yeah, hit it. Hit your notifications, too, if you like the show. That way you're reminded every Tuesday at 8:30. What's up, Mafia family? What's up, John Johnson, the Johns family? There's Patrick Hughes again. A little throwback Tuesday on the K-Gun Fantasy Group Chat. There you go. Childhood friend, good buddy. What's up, everybody? Josh Cook.
Hey, Cookie.
Jamie Narson says, what's up, everyone? What's up, Mafia? He's got the question mark at the end, so he really wants to know what's up. What's up?
What's up?
What's up, man? A lot of moves going on. Debbie Emerton, pour my pint and ready to go. What are you drinking, Debbie? Alberto Rivera. What's up, fam? What's up, Berto?
Corey has not had this, so I'm going to give him the taste right now.
All right. Corey says about the Diggs information. Diggs to Pats. Thank God we don't have to worry about him anymore. Ha, ha, ha. That's the thing. Is we might have his number as far as being able to cover him. Obviously, he's a route runner, a good one. His ACL tear will hinder that a little bit, but it'll be interesting facing him twice a year for sure. Mike says it's 8:30 on a Tuesday night. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Love that quote.
Mm-hmm.
You can get Marv on the show and he can say that. Joey Hatch, 12th Man Mafia. What's up, Joey? Our buddy from 716 Sports Blizzard, Robbie. Hello, Jarrod, Scott, and RT.
Hey, Robbie.
What's up, Robbie? How you doing?
Robbie. Good old lovely Ellen Lartz. Yo, everyone. Let's get cracking. Cheers. Joey. Hello, Reed Brothers. And the Thomas brother, Reed Thomas. Hey, our last names combined. So a couple Hall of Famers in our family.
Couple Hall of Famers. How about that? Hey, we're Bills fans for a reason, right?
Yeah.
We should really have our uncles on someday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
that'd be fun. When I met Thurman Thomas, I referred to him as Uncle Thurman, and he looked at me like I had 4 heads. And I was like, my last name's Thomas, too. And he was like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Gotcha.
It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
Jared, why so serious? Yeah, he's got the Johnson jersey in the back.
Yep.
Doug Augie, what up, friends? What up, Doug?
Doug.
What up, Doug? Lori says Steph blah, and she adds in, I'm wearing Eli's hoodie. Lori and Eli, the kid in the streets, we'll have him back this year, giving us his game predictions, score predictions for every game this year. All
Lori's
right,
awesome.
guys.
She's always chiming in.
Oh, for sure. And here's Lisa. Hey, guys. Nice to see you.
Nice to
Good to see you, Lisa. For those of you who are on watching, and we do have a fundraiser we throw every year to help out the Help One Foundation. It's a Mark Maddox founded charity. We have the Rager, our regular season Rager every year. Labor Day weekend, we're actually switching it up. It's going to be the following weekend. It's no longer going to be the 30th of August. It's going to be the 6th of September. It might be a good benefit for us. All these fans might not be on vacation. It's the day before the Bills game, so it might be loud, rowdy, and crazy. For those of you who don't know, we raise the money for the Help One Foundation. We do live streams. We have giveaways. We have the Weasel Toss or Beanbag Toss, whatever you want to call it, at Reinvention Brewing. Retro Tacos, our food truck. We have a popcorn vendor.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going on. A lot of people attend, and it's a great way to celebrate our Buffalo Bills. But yes, it has changed to September 6th from August 30th.
And Weasel Toss tournament, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, we'll have a tournament going. We got I got in the works a couple of my friends that are going to run the tournament. Again, and the money will benefit the Help One Foundation.
Very
Nate
cool.
Nacho. I'll never forget Diggs catching a TD pass from JA in Foxborough and pointing to the fans saying, bleep you, bleep you, bleep you.
It did happen. It did happen.
It sure did. It sure did. All right. Speaking of Mark Maddox and the Help One Foundation, I do want to remind everyone, happy belated birthday, Mark. The picture we got up there is a picture from the Rager last year. You could see us sexy bastards up there had a great time. I think all of us are standing on our tippy toes so we could be almost the same size as Mark.
Man, I had some rosy cheeks that night. I wonder why. Wow.
Reinvention does a great job hosting. Their beer is really yummy. They released the Fanatics beer that day, which is the Bills themed beer. And yeah, we had a great time. Great time.
Awesome
for sure.
time.
Definitely happy birthday, Mark. He's a guy we met a handful of years ago, and he's like, we've just connected. Swank, Scott, and I, and Ryan, we see him every year, and he's easy to talk to. He's one of a kind. Swank always says it. You never want to meet your heroes, but this guy you do. He's a class act. And whenever I get the chance to say hi, I say hi to him, and definitely happy belated birthday to that man.
Yep. Happy birthday, Mark. We love you.
Happy birthday, Mark. Buffalo Bills legend.
There you go. Jared, he's on the show. When's he on the show? Next week?
Next week.
Very good. Mark will be on the show next week talking some Bills football. Very good. Happy birthday. Got to throw this out there real quick. Hold on. My button's not working. This is Sparta. What's up, Spartan? He says, oh, shit, I'm mad late. What's up, boys? Mafia. Mount up. What's up, Spartan?
Mafia.
As you guys see watching the show, we like to get the comments out there. So the topics that we're going to bring up, chime in, give us your 2 cents. We'll throw it out there. You may sway us in some sort of way. You never know, but we like to talk fan first perspective football. Guys, the first thing I want to talk about today, we didn't get to last week, but because it hasn't been done yet, it's still got to be a topic of discussion. It's the extensions with Benford and or Cook. We'll start off with our boy Cook. We know the back story with him is shortly after the season inauguration of 2025 started. Actually, before then, he posted the 15 mil. He wants 15 mil. Obviously, the Bills have signed and restructured and extended and cut a lot of other players for the Bills this year, and Cook has not been part of any of that. RT, I'm going to start with you. I guess just a layout of what you feel about him demanding, or is he setting the stage for a negotiation? Is it worth it? And Bills generally don't re-sign their players. Is there someone in the draft that potentially can send Cook on his way if he decides to hold out or anything like that? We'll start with you.
It's really tough because what happened these last 2 years with the position as a whole, the running back position that is as a whole, I think cannot be overstated enough. The position was devalued. It was looked at as this is a passing league now. The running backs churn and burn, draft one every 4 years. And a lot of teams are doing that. They were doing that for the better part of over half a decade at least. And then the Philadelphia Eagles signed Saquon Barkley, and then the Baltimore Ravens signed Derrick Henry. And then along with that, James Cook, who was drafted a couple years ago, one of the best backs in the league among those two guys that I just mentioned. So it's a market trending, type game where when one guy does really, really well in Saquon and Derrick Henry, of course, that third guy that's kind of in that statistical, kind of bubble of those other players wants to get paid. I understand that these guys play a really tough sport. The shelf life, the window of opportunity is so small. So all these guys want to get every dollar that they possibly can while they can. But at the same time, when you look at, just breakdowns of numbers in terms of like snaps and percentage of snaps, James Cook was one of the lower end, snap running backs in the game. And that's kind of a double-edged sword too, because you could look at that in one way and say, well, hey, he's not getting as many snaps as Derrick Henry. He's not getting as many snaps as Saquon. Or I'll throw out another one. My guy, Kyron Williams, for fantasy football. That guy's a machine, getting the ball 80% of the time. So there was a good trio of backs here with Ty Johnson and Ray Davis that helped kind of alleviate some of the workload from James Cook. So does that mean that James Cook should be paid as much as a running back that is doing the heavy lifting like Saquon or like a Derrick Henry or a Christian McCaffrey when he's healthy, of course? I don't think so. I think there has to be a little bit of a middle ground between Brandon Beane and James Cook to say, hey, we know what you would like. We can't quite go there just due to some of the, numbers that I just mentioned of workload and snap count and things like that. And I think if he was on any other team sharing a backfield with maybe the exception of like a Lamar, a Burrow, or, Mahomes, I don't think he'd be the same player as he is sharing a backfield with Josh Allen. The dynamic threat that he is opens up James Cook for a lot of different opportunities out on the football field. And I love James Cook, guys. You guys know I love James Cook. I was pounding the drum for them to run him the ball, get him the ball as much as humanly possible for the past couple of years now. But it can't be overstated the lack of touchdowns those first 2-3 years to just, obviously 2 years, but to last season, what did he have? 16. So it was really only one good year of phenomenal production. And outside of that, we hadn't really seen an elite year from James Cook quite yet. He was knocking on the door, broke out this past year. So I think it's really tough. I look at it, a lot of these teams have a lot of structured deals with players, maybe front load or back load or whatever. I think in the case of a running back, front loaded contract the first 2 years, a 4-year deal that pays him decent money, but he should not make more than Saquon Barkley. With what that guy did for the Philadelphia Eagles, I don't think any running back should be making more than Saquon Barkley right now.
Right.
100% agree with that.
Pay him, RT. How much you paying him? Go ahead. Throw it out there.
I would say 12 a year. 12 a year, I think is fair. And even that, I think we would look at that. If that's best case scenario, 12, 13, Jim chimes in with 13. I would say 12 to 13. 15 was what was originally being reported, which would put him higher than, Derrick Henry. Saquon just got an extension, which is going to put him at 20 over the next couple years. Yep. So, that's just how I see it. Or if they decide not to, he plays for the Buffalo Bills this season, they move on from him. And I think you could definitely see them be one step ahead of things, drafting a running back here in a loaded running back draft class in 2025.
Right. As you said, Jimmy Graham says 13 mil. I'd give him. John Robert mentions that he can't block. Mary Calabrese says they have to re-sign Cook, not for 15, but wouldn't want to see him playing for another team. I think a lot of people are with you on that one, Marianne. Jarrod, what are your thoughts on Cook, man?
Pay him. Here's why. I'm not going to go on a rant. I'm just going to ask you guys questions, okay? 1,000-yard rusher again for the second year in a row, okay? He averages 4.9 yards a carry. He did not get the workload. He only got 1,009 yards, but he got 16 rushing touchdowns. If you ask everybody, he would have had more if Josh Allen didn't steal his goal line runs, right? So he would have had more. You're not looking at a guy who's getting 300, 350 yards or carries per season, so longevity is going to be there. We asked for him to get the longer runs, 20 yards and plus. He did that this year. If these running backs have such a short lifespan, why are we waiting to pay him when he has a good year? Saquon Barkley had a great season this year. He got paid. He wasn't getting paid a lot before. Now he's getting paid. James Cook, although he only had 1K and 9, he scored 16 touchdowns, 18 total, tied second in the league. He can't block. How many times was Josh Allen sacked this year? The offense gears towards when Cook's in. He might not miss a block, but that's why Allen rolls out and he's a tough guy. I get that he can't block. Maybe he's liability with that, but Josh Allen was still the least sacked quarterback in the NFL. There's a lot of things that go on to this. And Ryan, like you said, it is tough. It is tough. I want this young man to get paid because he's been nothing but good shit for this Buffalo Bills team. He didn't have the touchdowns the first 2 years, like you said, but he was productive in the pass game, dropped a couple passes, and the run game. And this year he took off with the touchdowns. I think this offense goes with Josh Allen, but I think James Cook is an asset, and we do have some other good running backs in there. But I say you got to pay the man.
Okay, I'll play devil's advocate here. 15 mil. I say if he wants 15 mil, my mind goes to he gets 2/3 to pay the workload that these top running backs get. So pay him 2/3 that money. Give him 10 mil a year. 1,000 yards nowadays is nothing in a 17-game season. I think it should be more towards 1,100. That should be the benchmark. The 16 touchdowns, he's done it once. I don't think that's a repeat offender for him. I don't think you say Josh Allen stole touchdowns from him running the ball up the middle. I say he stole touchdown passes from Josh Allen to someone else. Josh Allen's numbers were a little down in the touchdown pass category. What if Josh now next year gets that 10 and takes that 10 away from James Cook? It's hard to base all this stuff for me personally on a one-season performance. I see a guy like Ty Johnson being re-signed by the Buffalo Bills, 2 years contract. And I honestly see if you give him a fair chance, I think he can do just as much as Cook and he can block. So it's just one of those things that with the draft class being so deep in the fourth round, even with running backs, if they can read a zone or a block or a gap blocking technique and they're effective at it, then they will be successful in this offensive line. This is a really good offensive line. And when they bring out that sixth guy, the Alec Andersons of the world, they're really good. So I'm not saying every running back can do what James Cook can do. He came out of Georgia as a receiving running back, and he's done well this year. But 15 mil, that's got to be – his agent is an idiot if that's what he's starting at and wants to go up. I want to think that it's a 15 mil. You guys say 10, let's meet somewhere in the middle kind of situation. That's what I'm hoping. But there's too many running backs in the league coming up through college that can, I believe, do what James Cook can do. And we have one sitting in our locker room in Ty Johnson that I also believe can do what James Cook can do.
Can I provide a little bit of context too? Because this whole thing it didn't start just out of the blue. Like this was on a podcast, just like what we're on right now, where James Cook was the guest. And he was saying, I want to get my due. I want to, be a highly paid player at my position. And we all three of us understand that. But in the process of saying that, he's saying that he's not a me guy. And I don't think he's a me guy either, but he just so happened to be saying that he wanted more money while he was sitting in his Ferrari. And hey, that's cool. I appreciate that. He loves to spend his money where he wants to spend it. That's his prerogative, but that doesn't exactly scream that moment there. And then you kind of compare it to Khalil Shakir driving the same Subaru the last, 5, 6, 7 years. It's just not really meshing in terms of what the Bills have been doing, which is draft, develop, retain, and trying to cultivate that. And then you have James Cook saying he wants to be the highest paid running back in the league in a year that it's really tough to say that he should be the highest paid running back in the league. That I think everybody could agree with. And, if they want to meet in the middle with him, I'm okay with that. I really like him as a player and as a person, but I definitely think there's a little bit more to it than meets the eye. And we'll kind of hear more about it as this offseason kind of, winds down. We're really only getting into the thick of it. The draft's less than a month away here. So the Bills draft a running back in this draft in the first 4 rounds. I think that'll tell you all you need to know about this situation.
Yep. Mike says offer him 10 to 12. John Robert says Bean will not pay $15K to Cook. This whole draft developing guys, it's a small sample size because they do sign these second round or third rounders for like 4 or 5 years. Singletary was a guy they drafted, didn't keep. Ray Davis currently is the other running back on contract at this point, so we don't know what's happening to him. Bean does not keep these guys. I think he has the philosophy. You have to pay a certain group and you have to stick with your philosophy. You can't start changing that up and saying, okay, for these next 7 years, we're going to start paying running backs and centers or something like that. You got to stick with a philosophy that works for you. Rob?
I think they have to. Hey, Rob, they have to deliver him a number. I say pay him, but I also mean this like a $13 million contract and make the man rush for 13,000 or 1,350 yards with 10 touchdowns, and that's his extra $2 million incentive.
There you go, incentive pay.
There you go.
Nickel City Crew Rob Crippen, he doesn't play on third downs. That's a big one. I think that's a lot of people's arguments is he's out there 2 plays out of 4. He's 50%. Should have kept it internal. I do believe that. You start going on social media. Yep.
Brandon 100%. Bean will pay anybody if he keeps it in house. He's proven that. Yep. Just keep it in closed doors. Matt Milano's restructured his contract. God knows how many times. So it's a very interesting culture that they've cultivated, and I'm curious to see if Cook will be a part of it.
Right. Would you guys rather have a running back that gets 1,000 yards rushing or 18 touchdowns?
I'd rather have a running back that gets 1,000 yards rushing and 500 yards receiving.
Yep.
Touchdowns aside, he could have 7 or 8, as long as the yard production is there. That's what 1,500 total. That's today's NFL. That's elite in today's NFL.
The yard production will get you inside the 20, inside the 10.
Right.
4.9 yards a carry still, though.
Yep, but that yard production. I mean, all you got to do with this Bills offense, all you got to do is get inside the 10-yard line and you're scoring. They
and I will say
inside
too,
the 10-yard.
Getting in the nitty gritty of it, Scooter too. 4.9 yards a carry, Jarrod, is no joke, and he's had great yards per carry each year. That's one thing he has had. Mm-hmm. But what are his yards after contact? That's another layer, and maybe some of these running backs, if you look at the running backs in this draft class, maybe they would be better suited for breaking tackles and breaking off big runs. I'm not saying James Cook didn't do that, but this was really the first year where he did. So it's hard for me to say, hey, let's extend this guy 5-6 years, when running backs don't usually get contracts like that. Like what the Eagles just did with Saquon Barkley was unprecedented. That prior to the deal that he got this past offseason last year, and then extending him after they won the Super Bowl like that just doesn't happen. So I think a lot of running backs are trying to get a little bit of that, but they got to earn it. They got to earn it,
And this is contract 3 for Barkley.
Right.
So
this will pay him James Cook is 34, 35.
Yeah, Cook is 22 years old. He's just getting to his second contract. It seems like in the NFL, longevity needs to be proven first, and then you get paid. Longevity with consistency, and he hasn't done that yet. Don't forget, we have Frank Gore in the backfield and on the practice squad. Yep, Patrick. Thank you, bud. So here's the next question. You have 15 mil. I know Benford's going to have to cost more. If it was between you guys, would you bring back Cook or Benford? And if you say Benford, which I think you guys are going to say, tell me what his extension looks like to you. And he's been dubbed one of the top 3 corners in the league. Do we pay him as such? I mean, the guy is a late round draft pick that's developed into something special here in Buffalo. Jarrod, I'll start with you first on this one.
Yeah, cornerbacks are one of those positions like Ryan mentioned to earlier that people just decided they wanted to pay him this year. Surtain got a big deal. Derek Stingley, I think now he's making $30 million a year.
J.C. Horn.
Yeah, so I got 6 contracts written down. I'm going to start with Stingley's $30 million a year, Horn 25, Ramsey 24.1, Patrick Surtain 24, and then there's 21, 20, 20.5, and $20.1 million. And those are the top 7 guys.
All but one of those, Jarrod, are second contracts. The Jalen Ramsey is the only constant longevity one.
That's the longevity one. But I'm saying they're paying him now. So I know Bean's notorious for getting contracts to these guys before something like this happens. But I feel it's going to be awfully hard to get. I would rather have Benford than Cook, but it's going to be, you're going to have to pay the man, especially if he has another year like he had this last year. And I hope they do. He's got injuries kind of plagued him at the end of the season here. So maybe that'll play into it, but I feel like he's a legit CB.
What says you, RT?
And I don't want to say this in terms of a negative light, but with what we were just talking about with James Cook, I feel like Benford has more awareness of his situation of coming into Buffalo and what Buffalo was able to do to help him in his career to bring him to the point that he is at right now. And I think guys like Terrell Bernard understand that as well, which is why he signed on the bottom line for a 4-year deal, as well as some of these other guys that they were able to extend. But Bernard really stands out to me the most in terms of a guy that believes in what the Bills have done for him, believes in the direction that they're going. Christian Benford was a late round draft pick that Sean McDermott plugged and played, trusted in him to play within the scheme, but that scheme really benefits Christian Benford's game. I don't know, and I could be wrong on this. Maybe I'll be proven wrong on this, but I don't know if Christian Benford would be as successful in another defense as opposed to playing in this one. I think the defense schematically really fits what he can do, which was why it didn't fit what Kaiir Elam could do. That was why that kind of shook out the way that it did. I would say the cornerback position is extremely important in today's NFL, and the Bills are already kind of thin there. If they lose Benford, they'll be even thinner there. Rasul Douglas still a free agent as well. So, I mean, in terms of priority, Christian Benford takes priority. James Cook's got another year on his contract. I mean, he's still got another year to prove that he's worth the money that he says he is. So Christian Benford, I think is number one, numero uno. Figure this out. You make it 15, 18, whatever it needs to be, to keep him. That's a guy that I would consider paying decent money to.
Yep. This Bills defense is said to be difficult to understand and grasp, and the fact that he did it right away proves that it fits a lot. If I think he was a 6th rounder, Bean brought him in because he fit the scheme right off the bat, and I don't think you can let that go.
Right. So you guys pay him. How much you paying him? With the top being 30 set by Stingley, 25 by Horn. Those were their 2nd-year contracts. What's Benford getting for his 2nd year?
I think like year to year, maybe it goes up, maybe it goes like 15, 17, 19, 21, something like that. Or maybe it's 19, 17, 18, kind of tinkering around with it as these teams do. I don't know if he's worth, I don't know if Jalen, you guys mentioned that Jalen Ramsey's making $25 million a year. That is horrible. That's
his last contract was 3 years. He signed it last year, 3 years, $72 million.
Damn.
And is that still with the Dolphins?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a laugh if I've ever heard one. But yeah, it's I think you if he's making that, then you might have to go. And that's the thing, when these other teams overpay for these players that are so not worth the money that they're getting paid, it drives the market up for teams that need to re-sign a player that is actually worth that money. You have to pay them more than what they're actually worth. So maybe it is a $20 million a year deal plus for Christian Benford, I think.
That's what I'm going with. I'm going off 2 things. I think $20 million is very affordable for your number one corner. And I think need. If you look at our depth, Benford's the answer for sure.
4 or 5 years.
Yep. And if Bean does Bean things and jumps on this market before it does get really out of control, $20 million a year is nothing. And he's got money. There's a lot of extensions and restructures that still can happen. I like what Bean does. He doesn't spend the money or start doing anything until he needs it. He's not someone that gets all that money in his bank and doesn't know what to do with it. He says, let's hang on to it. If something comes up, we'll extend someone. I think the Bills organization and that office and that culture rides on that. They accept that. And I think that's what makes it such a comfortable locker room and organization for sure.
Yep.
Jim Graham says 15. Patrick Hughes says not until 9:30. Yes, new time, guys. The K-Gun Report, 8:30 to 9:30, new times. Jarrod and I have little ones that are going to play sports. We're not going to be able to get home until 8 o'clock. So football starts. It's going to be a later show. So that's we've all come into that realization just for a little bit.
I'll be doing the same thing, getting into the coaching ranks. It's going to be year one and a lot of fun.
John Robert Maxwell, Hairston, cornerback in the draft. We're not talking draft today, but I like where your head's at. We'll talk about it. Yep. We've got a bunch of shows coming up, guys. We're going to be talking draft and mock drafts and all that stuff during that time. Can't wait for it. We'll have special guest Dean Kindig, the Buff fan base's draft guru, will be joining us. We're going to do a mock draft with him involved. He does get very specific in regards to what players are interested, what the Bills are interested, scouting interviews, how many times the scouts go to the games. He's very in depth, so it's very exciting.
Mhm.
With that all being said, we're going to go to the next segment, but I do want to remind everybody we're from the Buffalo Fan Base Network. Hit them up on Twitter. They almost got 178,000 followers, I think. And the shows are getting crazy. Everyone is we're all on the same page, and we are all looking to give you guys the most fun Bills content. Jared, what's that saying?
The
Bills content you deserve
need.
and the content you deserve for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
I like that. Guys, free agency frenzy was kind of crazy. We
Mhm.
did bring in Joey Bosa. We brought in a couple names. Forrester as a safety. We re-signed. We cut. We did all this stuff to make some room. The Bills roster right now is loaded. I think they have 70 plus people on the roster, with 10 still needing to come in for the draft. So we're looking and we're setting pretty. So this is the fun part of the show. The fun part, as if fan first perspective, our thoughts. Free agency is still a thing. You can still sign players. Offensively, if there's one player that's still available in free agency, on that list, money aside, and fans join in on this, you guys following, if there's a guy in free agency that's still available, money aside, who do you think which one of those players do you think would benefit the Buffalo Bills the most if they signed him? Jared, you're up. Go.
Stefan, sorry. No, I wouldn't. Amari Cooper, I think, would be a great pickup. Resign. He was fighting injuries last year, so it was kind of frustrating, I bet, for him, but for us fans as well. So if he finds his way back, that would be great. But the guy I'm focused on right now is Elijah Moore, a wide receiver. I think he was playing for Cleveland last. Was it Cleveland?
Mhm. Cleveland, yep.
Yep.
So this guy suffers a couple injuries. He got dinged 2 years ago pretty bad and was doing like the convulsing on the field. But I think he's a guy that can come in to the
Nothing
Bills.
we're not used to as Bills fans.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
So average per season, he's gotten 97 targets, 56 catches, 603 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And he also can run the ball. I just read all that if you didn't see that. But the big thing is he's played for the Jets and the Cleveland Browns, and he's producing like that when he's on the field. He hasn't been with a great quarterback. I think if Elijah Moore comes to Buffalo, he'll be more of that Shakir type running wide receiver, the quick slants and stuff like that. But I also think he can take the top off of everybody. So if there's a free agent that I'd like to see the Bills pick up and get maybe at a cheap deal, $3 million, I think it'll be Elijah Moore.
There you go. Not bad. Right now, our wide receiver, would you guys agree or disagree? Our wide receiver room kind of looks better than it did last year. Yay or nay? We'll make that quick.
I would say yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say yay. I think it's going to look even better after this draft, potentially.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Patrick Hughes says wide receiver Allen or Cooper. Looks like, Jared, they're on the same boat as you as far as bringing in another wide receiver. Marion Calabrese says Amari liked it here, played with a broken wrist. I like that idea for sure. RT, what are your thoughts? Bring in a free agent offensively to help out our Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, honestly, I'm going to stay on the wide receiver train with another free agent wide receiver. I'm going to go with a vet, a guy that I didn't think would ever play in another uniform, Tyler Lockett. I'm a big fan of his. I feel like he's very underrated. I feel like with the wide receivers that we have, he's not going to really be that guy that pulls a Stephon Diggs and demands, everything, that the whole house and garage and everything. I think he's going to be a player that will catch on with a team, that will be a big part of kind of that quote unquote wide receiver room. And Buffalo's got a lot of young wideouts. I feel like they need to bring in some sort of veteran, just like they did last year with Amari Cooper, but somebody that I think could stretch the field as well. He's known to stretch the field. Allen's looked for a guy, the last few years that could stretch the field deep ball wides, whether it's somebody that's physical like Keon or somebody that is just a savvy, smart, all around well-rounded wideout like Tyler Lockett. These last few years have been a little bit lean for him, but I think he'd really enjoy the opportunity to work with a quarterback like Allen and be a part of an offense like this.
For sure. And guys, I would give you mine, but I had Cooper and Allen written down. Not Cooper and Allen, Cooper and Lockett. I like Lockett's ability to stretch the field, and like Cooper's ability he's another pass route runner that does that wide receiver route tree very well, and he's got good hands. At broken wrist last year, I think we should give him another chance, and I think he would knock Laviska Shenault out of that 5th spot, and I wouldn't mind. Can you imagine Amari Cooper as your
Healthy?
fifth wide receiver? That'd be something crazy.
That's not bad.
RT, I'll start with you with the
Mhm.
defense. Pick a defensive guy that would come in and help with the Bills immediately. If money was not an option available in free agency, go ahead.
Man, I mentioned this to Swank on my podcast last week, and with the kind of funky situation that was going on with the two new free agents, Ogunjobi and Michael Hocht, being suspended, what does that do to Buffalo's cap, and how does that kind of impact the cap for the Buffalo Bills to then go out and make a move? I honestly would love the opportunity to see Von Miller with Joey Bosa in this defense if it was possible. I really would.
Can
I
you
think
imagine
that would,
just bringing them back in their prime and having those two on the edge? Holy shit, that'd
yeah,
be a story.
that'd be awesome. But I mean, in terms of like the money allocated, how does that look? I know that Ogunjobi's contract was a little bit less, as it
Mhm.
turns out. Brandon Beane kind of finagled that, as he always does. And Hawks is going to be the same as well. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing his last name right. But
Can I help you out? Can I
yeah,
help you out? Hoyt.
yeah, sure. Hoyt.
It's
Okay,
simple.
Hoyt.
Hoyt.
Hoyt. So yeah, so I think that Hawked. Yeah, it was a little bit of a pun. We'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I think that if they could bring back Von Miller, I think that'd be really cool. He's really, I mean, defensively, guys, this was a loaded free agency class. I was looking at it, and really, he's the only name that really jumps out at me. There's Matt Judon. He's out there still.
Mhm.
Kendall Fuller, veteran corner. But I thought the Joey Bosa signing was awesome. And I thought to myself, man, if they still had Von as well, that'd be pretty cool. Kind of mix in the veterans with the young youth that they have, which is probably going to add to that more in this draft. It would just be, cherry on the sundae.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Jared, who you got?
Yeah, Ryan, you mentioned it. Kendall Fuller. I think
Mhm.
he would be a great guy coming out of Miami. He had a low season this year, played 11 games. He averages about 60 tackles and about 10 pass defenses a year. And I think and he's a Super Bowl champ. So bringing him in, I think will add to the locker room. But being a veteran, I think it's going to be a huge benefit. I think he can still play again if he stays healthy. 11 games and having 50 tackles, that's pretty damn good. So I'm thinking if he comes in and plays a full season, depending on if they need him or not, I think he'd be a good addition. Kendall Fuller.
Another one, Scooter, I got to throw this out there,
Mhm.
and people might disagree with me on this, but I was just looking at the free agents just now as we were going through this, and I was shocked to find that now 38-year-old defensive end Calais Campbell had 5 sacks last year. That's a lot for a guy
He's a
that's
beast.
38 years old. Maybe, just maybe, hey, you wanna hop on for a run? Hey, I wouldn't be opposed. I really wouldn't. Age is just a number.
Especially when you rotate.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got on the field presence too. I mean, he gets those guys hyped. He gets
Uh-huh.
mic'd
Great
up a
locker
lot.
room dude. Great locker room guy. Yeah.
Yep. Mike from
Definite.
YouTube says I'd bring back Douglas if he's still available. He is still available.
Yep.
That's a beautiful thing about a lot of some of these players that we're talking about, guys. No one signed him yet. So every day they go unsigned is potentially a lower cap
Mhm.
hit and lower signing. The guy I'm going with real quick, and I'll make it fast. He has shoulder issues. I think that's what's keeping everybody away from him. Is the Asante Samuel Jr. From the Chargers. I do like everything he has to offer. Again, injury prone. He still has some issues with it, but why not? Why not? If you can get him cheap, he's young. Get him healthy. See how this new training and special team squad, the new trainers and all that, the fitness, and see what you could do with his recovery. I like that idea. And
I got one more player for you guys.
And he may stay loyal to you if you fix him and have him play well. What's up, Jared?
Tre'Davious White.
I mean, it'd be cute, but that's about it. No shots at Trey, but I like the thought of veterans at the D line, but the thought of a veteran at corner a little tougher, especially in his case with the injuries that he's had. But man, I would be ecstatic if they signed Asante Samuel Jr. If something broke down, God forbid, with Christian Benford, that is number one, plan B, 100%.
Yep. And to go along with RT, yeah, those knees don't hold up quite as well when you're chasing down 26-year-old wide receivers. Defensive lineman, you got one job to do: fill this gap or go after the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use a little bit of your veteran and your experience on the DL to manipulate a lot of things. On the CB, you're on an island, right? And you got to react to these guys who are getting faster and faster every year.
Hey man, you run stunts and all that stuff, so you depend on your counterpart there at defensive tackle to shed a block or to take on a block. You got a lot more people to lean on rather than being on an island at the cornerback position, where if you get burnt, they know.
Right.
All right. Love that section, guys. Very good. Guys, the comments are coming in like crazy as per usual. You guys are kicking ass in the comments. We do have 830 viewers live at this time.
Ooh.
Love it. I know it's a different time, 8:30 to 9:30 on a Tuesday, but that's what we do here at the K-Gun Report. If you like what you're seeing here and you love fan first perspective views on our Buffalo Bills and how they're running things and how they play and all that good stuff, tune in to the Buff Fan Base Network. We have shows on all week, including tomorrow. You have a show tomorrow, RT?
You know it. Prime time, 8 o'clock. Tune in live. Cannot wait. I'm going to be diving into a lot of NFL draft stuff.
Fun stuff.
Little news and notes around the NFL. Russell Wilson signed with the New York Giants today. So that'll be something I'm going to dive into as well. A little bit of the quarterback kind of domino effect. And Aaron Rodgers, Old Man River, still out there. You know, it'll be interesting to see if he signs with the Steelers or.
And he's pissing people off.
Do the Steelers even want Aaron Rodgers anymore?
I'll tell you what, with Hayward saying what he said, I think it'd be detrimental to the team if you brought Rodgers in. Hayward's pissed off. He says, if you want to be a Steeler, you're a Steeler. Stop dicking around and sign a contract already.
Yeah, I think he's wore out his welcome in the NFL as a whole.
The only other team is the Giants. The only other team is the Giants, and they just signed Winston and Wilson. Yeah. Wilson, 10 mil. And then 21 with incentives. So he's
was not cheap. They did not go cheap.
So that tells me they're planning on starting him. I thought Winston was going to start. I'll tell you what, fantasy football wise, Winston is if he's on your roster, you play him more times than not.
I think there's going to be a competition, a healthy competition. Yep. Yeah.
There you go. Well, we're kicking ass right now, guys. We got 11 minutes left in the show. All we're going to hit on real quick is we're going to touch on the draft position. We will get into draft, more shows. Obviously, RT mentioned he's going to be talking about draft stuff tomorrow, but then I want to hit on these potential rule changes or propositions that are being brought up by some of these teams. I think it'd be fun to go around and see what's going on with that. But real quick, I just want your guys' opinion with what has happened in the free agency, with bringing in the Joey Bosa's, the experience of defense, leaving the cornerback position alone, just bringing back people on the defensive backfield as far as safeties go, and our offense looking as good as it already does. What do you think is the number one? Because we got to draft to start now. We can't draft to develop. Let's draft somebody that we're going to start. At number 30? And RT, I'll start with you. At number 30, we're not trading back. We're not trading up. If you don't see this position pulled by Brandon Beane, you'll be pissed off. What position is that? What position is the one you say they better go after someone here?
I would say corner. I really would. I think even, if they're able to extend Benford, great. But a name that was mentioned, one of my favorite players these last few years, Rasul Douglas, he could be out. If he signs here, we'll know more on that. But I think you could never have enough corners in today's NFL. And there's some really good ones in this draft. And to name a few, Will Johnson out of Michigan, he's rated really high. Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame. I like a lot of the corners in this class because they're big. They're 6'2", 6'1", 6'2", 6 foot. That is kind of the new age of corner that Richard Sherman kind of ushered in that he doesn't really get a lot of credit for. He was like the first 6'3" elite corner in this league. So we're starting to see some of those guys, over the last few years, Reek Woolen and such too. So I'm excited to see some of these guys come into the league, and I'm excited. Hopefully, Buffalo gets one of them.
Hell yeah!
Yep. And one of the names we saw earlier, Maxwell Hairston from I think that's a guy that made a name for himself for sure in the combine. So keep your eyes open. Jarrod, what position you thinking is a must?
Yeah, I'm right there with Ryan. I keep on calling Swank, Ryan, Swank. No, Ryan, I'm right there with you, CB. We'll talk more about who we think next week, but I think it's got to be CB, and I like DL, defensive line. Those are two positions that you can never have too many people with.
Very good.
For sure.
I'm going again. Like I said, CB, DL, Jared. There's a lot of spots available in round 2. There's a lot of defensive line talent. And this is something the Bills have fallen in the last couple of years, is that their needs have been deep in the draft. So the fact that DL will be available, safety will be available, running back will be available in round 4. A bunch of them, we've already discussed that. But just the potential is there to have a wonderful draft. We just hope the Bills hit on it. Now, obviously, guys, it's all speculation. It's all hope. Kyer Elam was a bust, but I think 32 out of 32 NFL teams out there, if they had the opportunity to draft them in the first round, if they were back 20 and back, they'd have done it. So they just got to play out, and they got to fit the right scheme. Patrick Hughes says, go ahead. Patrick Hughes says CB or safety.
CB
Doug Augie says CB, wide body defensive tackle. There's a ton of 330+ pound defensive tackles in this draft.
We like one of them, Scooter. We know who that is. That's DT out of the Michigan Wolverines.
Kenneth Grant.
That guy is a monster beast. I'd love to see Buffalo get him, but I think he's just such a physical specimen that he's going to move up. I don't see somebody letting him get into the 30s, let alone maybe even the 20s. He's very, very fun to watch, and hopefully, Buffalo can get him. That'd be cool.
Oh, hell yeah. So to join us, guys, we're going to talk about the new rule changes. We've got 10 minutes. He decided he wanted to show up to the stage. Our buddy Swank, buddy, just in time.
Swank Meister.
Just in time to talk about the rule changes. We're going to go over them quick. But how was Mike Knight?
It was good, man. It was good. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Can. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, it was good, man. We had a lot of talent, some new first timers, all sorts of good things. Jerry, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. RT, how are you?
Fantastic, buddy. How are you?
Awesome.
Paulette says, hi, Swank.
Oh, hey, Paulette, how are you? Scooter Magoo, you're looking great. You're doing a hell of a job.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. I just wanted, I wanted to come on. I want to say, hey, with the new time, I got a couple minutes,
Speaking of new time, we might go over a couple minutes here. Let's throw in this overtime rule that's being changed. Club rule change proposal, Rule 16, Section 1, to align the postseason and regular season overtime rules by granting both teams an opportunity to possess the ball regardless of the outcome of the first possession. So basically, the Eagles are asking the rule change. The regular season play overtime matches what's happening in the playoffs. What are you guys' takes on that? We'll go right down the line. RT, start off. Are they going to change it? You think it's a good move?
I think it's a good move. Will the greedy National Football League change it to eliminate potential advertising? Probably not. I think that's another layer. They have that time allotted 1 to 4 or 8 to 11. It's got to be in that window. If it goes beyond that, they know people are tuning out. If it gets too late. So especially on a primetime game where they want as many eyeballs as possible, I don't know if they'll make this change. Should they? I think it's a good idea, but I don't know if the NFL will change it.
Right. I don't know why you would have two separate things happening, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think about?
That's where I'm at, man. It's like, why would you have a different set of rules for the regular season than the postseason? It seems like this is like a natural progression, right? Where if you're going to do it when it counts, you should do it when it matters to count, right? Like, we're building to that. Like, why would you want people to practice outside of what they need to do to win it all? I kind of think it's like the same thing. Like, if college wants to be like, college football has always been the farm league, if you will, for the NFL, but the rules are different. Like, why would you do that? Like, isn't your whole purpose to like try to get as many kids into the NFL as possible?
I'm sorry, I have to laugh. I just put up a comment and I just Mike Mikowski the hell out of Jarrod there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Blank right over him.
Boom.
He's just gone. Swing to that point. A lot of the rules too that are different in college compared to the NFL are better than the NFL. Yeah, college has so many rules that would be great for the NFL, in my opinion.
Even the XFL, dude, like they had so many great rules that the NFL has slowly, like begrudgingly, started to adapt. Right? Like the first thing they can get rid of, though, that they should have not taken from the XFL is like interviewing coaches.
Leave them alone.
Leave them the fuck alone.
Right.
All right, so Jerry, we got 2 takes. Would you have anything to add to that? Because we'll go right to you with the next one.
No, yeah. So if you're going to do that, you cannot end the game in a tie anymore. If you're going to have 2 teams score touchdowns or do that, there can't be a tie anymore. And I think that's a great idea. If you go 2 overtimes and they keep scoring, or not keep scoring, but it ends up being a tie, then you have to go to field goals.
All right, Jerry, we're going to come right at you with this one. What's so funny?
Kicking field goals like goal kicks.
Yeah, dude.
I love it.
The Detroit Lions, this is Rule 8, Section 4, to eliminate an automatic first down as a penalty imposed for defensive holding or illegal contact. So basically, we already know any of those penalties downfield, automatic first down. They want to get rid of that. What's your take on that, Jerry?
Yeah, I think it's a good one. A lot of offensive penalties that happen or defensive penalties that happen are automatic first downs. But if it's an offensive penalty, it's not. It's just a loss of downs, but they get the down back. So I think it's a good thing. You just have to be prepared for misaligned balls and miscounting yards and all that stuff. So they have to keep track of that. But I think it's a good idea not to have an automatic first down when it's if it's a defensive holding, which is what, a 10-yard penalty, and it was 3rd and 15. That shouldn't be a first down. I think it's good.
What says you, Swank?
I'll go ahead and devil's advocate that, man. I think it as much as it like kills us when Pat Mahomes is out there doing that, like I also think that it kind of keeps things honest. Like you can't just hold and hold and hold and hold to stall a drive, especially like those game winners. So like as much as I do agree with what you're saying, I also see the other side of it where it's like, I don't know, man, keep it the same. Like it really feels like we're always on the horse's ass end of that call, right? And I hate that part of it, but I do see, like, if you're going to do that and it's holding in the end zone and it's a 40-yard bomb and the guy was all over him, like that should be placed at the 1 to me, right? Like, and maybe things can be less black and white and more gray. Like maybe we could get suitable refs in the NFL and they could actually make a good judgment call. Just saying.
Yeah. Going back to what I just said, Swank, you're absolutely right. I mean, you're going to make me change my mind. I think if it's 3rd and 15, you hold a guy, you know, you can hold him if you get beat, right? So hold him. If he calls penalty, he calls penalty. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But if he calls it, at least we'll still have 3rd and 5.
Yeah, that turns a bad play into a good play, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. RT, thoughts?
You know, I look at this from like a safety point of emphasis from the NFL. Like they have let everyone know, the whole world knows that they've been trying to make this league safer. It's really, really hard to do that in a game that is completely unsafe for a wide variety of reasons, but that's why we love it. We love a little violence. We love a little contact, to quote Remember the Titans. But I will say that that's why these penalties are imposed. When there's defensive holding or illegal contact, it's an automatic first down because these things should not happen as much as they still do. And the reason they do is a lack of technique, lack of discipline, neutral zone infractions like Chris Jones. Those weren't getting called until the Super Bowl, which that's another kind of level. We got to be consistent as a league. They got to be consistent. If it's not good for one, it shouldn't be good for anybody. And they can't bend, they need to either break the rule, like break it by throwing it away, rip it apart, start something new, or be accountable for it. And this is actually one of the few rules that I feel like they're actually more accountable. If a player does something illegal contact wise, the team should pay the price for it. It's well known that some of these penalties are just so blatantly stupid, committed by dirty defenses, that the offense should be rewarded for it, in my opinion.
Right. Good point. Yeah. Yep. I agree. I just tired of those 3rd and longs becoming an automatic first down because someone held during an out pattern or they were juked out. RT, sticking with you, my friend. Sticking with you on this one. Where are we? Come on. We're not clicking here. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Rule 12, Section 1, to prohibit offensive player from pushing a teammate who is lined up directly behind the snapper and receives a snap immediately at the snap. So this is the quarterback. This is the tush push, guys. Rapid fire. RT, start with you. Is that something that you just have to say you got to defend it? Stop your crying, or is this? I mean, the studies show that there's no injuries coming from it, so it's not a protection issue. It's a can't stop it issue. So what's your thoughts on that?
It's an I can't stop it issue, and now one team was doing it at a high level, couldn't be stopped, And now other teams are doing it at a high level, and they can't be stopped. So what can we do to get rid of this rule? It's just this one I think is ridiculous. I think out of all the ones we've talked about thus far, stop it. Do whatever you can to stop it. It's really not a hard play to stop, but I think Philadelphia ran it better than just about anybody because they would have a weighted player, meaning pounds, LBs, behind Jalen Hurts to push his tush into, or beyond the first down marker. So that's what makes it successful, and that's what makes it hard to stop, especially when you have a 6'4", 6'5" quarterback like Hurts and like Josh Allen. So stop it. Get better in the middle. Get better on the front seven as a whole. This is football, and to take this away, I think it would be upsetting for the people that are the fans of this play.
Here we go, folks. We're in overtime.
Look at this guy stepping in, and he's on his P's and Q's, man. Look at this.
First one of the year. Swank, tush push. Get rid of it or learn to defend it.
I'll make it quick, man. Like, if this is something that we should get rid of, let's get rid of the Wildcat. Let's get rid of the RPO. Like, let's get rid of anything that people can't stop on a regular basis.
Get rid of Josh Allen rolling right.
Yeah, sure, man. Hey, let's get rid of Patrick Mahomes throwing with his right arm. Like, this is ridiculous, dude. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, if you find something that works and is like automatic to like a 96 percentile, other teams are going to have a problem with it because they can't stop it. They're saying like, what? We got to protect our quarterbacks. If the team that has the quarterback that is playing at the high level of Josh Allen, of Jalen Hurts, if they don't have a problem doing it, like, who are you? Who are you to come out? Like, nobody's pushing Jordan Love's ass across the goal line. Like, shut up. Either you get a stout defense or shut up. Like, I don't know. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Don't let him get to the 1 yard line.
Yeah, exactly. I also think if Josh gets hurt, I'm going to be like, by the way, that should have been outlawed.
Well, McDermott is an advocate for getting rid of it, I believe. I think there's one of those situations. And real quick, Jared, before your take, if they stood up to the rule of no aiding the runner, that includes pulling and pushing. We see that so often now where the running back just
stop. It's only pulling.
But it used to be pushing too, Jared.
I'll tell you, man, we saw examples this season where pulling was let go. Like, there was a little bit.
The last time, fun stat, that a pulling happened that was declined was a Buffalo Bills versus Chiefs game. Rob Thomas caught the ball in a divisional playoff game. Last time it was called. The pulling part, aiding.
Crazy.
Jared, what's up?
No, I think the tush push is old school football back before they passed the ball. They did a lot of that rugby style football, so you got to keep a little bit of that in the game. And I think, believe it or not, Kansas City Chiefs might have helped this be a non-thing because they stopped it a couple times against the Bills. So it is stoppable. If they're looking for more of a safety thing, like you said, there hasn't been any injuries from it. Unstoppable. It is stoppable as long as you have the refs on your side. But we'll see what happens. I think they got to leave it. Not every team can do it, obviously. You know what I mean? So it's got to be advantage to the teams. If like Swank was listing other things, okay, then stop running the ball so much with Derrick Henry and it's unfair.
We're losing because of that.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley ran for almost 2,000 yards. Don't let him run more than 15 times a game now.
Yeah. Derrick Henry is taking touchdowns away from Rashad Bateman.
All right, Jared, right back to you. To amend the current playoff seeding format to allow wildcard teams to be seeded higher than the divisional champions if the wildcard team has better regular season. So we've seen this a lot lately. A 9-7 wildcard team hosts a 13-3 team. They're stating that they want the team with a better record to host a playoff game. Jared, fire away.
That's a tough one. I think they can go either way, but I feel like if you win your division, that's what you need to be seeded. You need to be seeded 1 through 4. You play them teams 2 times throughout the year. It's your division. If you win it, you deserve something higher. I mean, it is tough when you get a team that makes it with a 9-8 record. You know what I mean? But we've said it from day one. To get to the playoffs first, you have to win your division. So that Every NFL player knows that. Win
Mm.
your division. And just because you have a better record, what if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you play against Cincinnati and Cleveland every year? You're going to win your division. You might be 9-8, but you're going to win your division. I don't. It's a huge argument. It's all over the place. But I feel like if you win your division, you get the top 4, and the rest will fall into place.
It's a hard thing to like.
Yeah.
Root against or root for. I don't know. There's times, like there's situations, right? That a lot of gray area where you could be like, that team deserves to not play on the road during the playoffs. They fought their ass off just because they are good to like the nth degree. And the AFC South is horrible. I don't know. They should be able to play at home, but I don't know, man. Rules is rules. Like what are you going to do about it? Like,
Mm-hmm.
You could try to like sort it out like that. I feel like you're opening Pandora's box if you do that. I'm kind of good with the way it is, and an 8-8 New York Giants team beat the undefeated Patriots one year in the Super Bowl, and they had to climb on and crawl all the way through it, and they
on
had
the road,
Yep.
every way. So it's doable. I don't know. I think keep it. I'm good. If you get in and be grateful and go.
I mean, the situation is divisional football. You play against a team twice. You play against 3 teams twice. And ex-players and current players will tell you the hardest games to win are the divisional games because of that. So if you have a record that is not as good as the other team that you're talking about, well, I guess that's just sucks for you. We've had to play this. This is hard. We have to play these teams hard. We don't have the best record, but we've had to play teams twice, just like you have. We deserve it. It's been this way forever. You can't start changing things now. RT, what's your thoughts?
This one really bothers me. It actually really fired me up when I first heard about it, because this one actually is an attempt at kind of changing the history of the league. It would diminish completely the rivalries in the National Football League. The divisional rivalries in the National Football League would be completely diminished. Their value of what they mean to the standings. Bills, Dolphins, Bills, Jets, Bills, Patriots. And they took a long time, the NFL, and you guys remember this just as well as I do, but it took a long time to get the divisions to be where they are. 4 teams in each division. We got 32 teams, an even amount of teams now. They brought in the Houston Texans to be the 32nd team. That was in 2000, 2001, maybe 2. So it's been a long time since the league's expanded. If they did something like this and then they decide to expand the league, it would create an even more of a cluster, headache towards adding more teams, more records, more this, that, and the other. They need to have the divisions. The divisions are what make football different in terms of scheduling, in terms of year to year, different than just about any other sport. So most of the fans here, they love going to divisional games because they got that double weighted value. This, I think, would really hurt that. And I don't know what Detroit is really getting at, because when you posted these, this is the second rule proposal from the Detroit Lions, who I like, by the way. I like Dan Campbell. I like Jared Goff. I like their team a lot. But I don't know where they're getting at with this one. Is this something that affected them in a previous year and they're
Last year?
salty? Yeah, that's
Was
what
it
I'm.
last year? I thought they
Was
won
it-
the division, didn't they?
No, they came in second in the
They
division.
came in second.
And they went and lost to who beat them? Washington.
So that's why this is being brought up. This
Yep.
is it affected them and
It's
didn't
not
really
fair.
affect anybody else. And yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. I think there's rules that we would say, Bills fans would say it's not fair that were talked about changing prior, like the overtime rule in the playoffs and things like that.
Yeah.
For years, when the Bills weren't even making the playoffs, those rules were talked about,
Yep.
and they finally decided to change it. So this one, I could use this rule as toilet paper. I mean, this is.
Yeah. There's more rules that need to be addressed, like putting pins in the balls if I figure out spotting the ball and all that stuff, rather than this one.
Right.
This is a woe is me. We had a great record with a shitty defense because they were all injured, and we didn't benefit with a home game, and we couldn't perform against a wild card team and lost. That's all I see. That's also, and if they want to if they want to establish this rule, then pardon my language, fuck the division. Have every team play each team once, and then the top 7 player teams automatically make the playoffs. No divisions.
That's how it works in hockey, essentially. Like there's divisions, but the divisions really don't matter. You know, it's all based off of point totals and things like that. And football's not meant to be that way.
Very good. What I saw today, there's another rule change that's it's already being established as far as markers and sidelines and the chain gang. I know there's a different approach that they're going to use. They're going to use some sort of aerial visual to find the spot of the ball. They're still staying away from the suggestion of putting like little pins in the tip of the ball with lines going down the sideline to figure out location. And a shitty excuse from what I saw on WGR today was the guy was explaining, and he went on to explain, well, don't put yourself in that situation anyways. Don't get close to the first down. Just go ahead and get it. It's like these guys aren't trying their hardest to get the first down. You think they're going to the line of scrimmage saying, let's get half a yard and make it close.
Was that a caller that said that, or was that someone on their actual show?
It was one of the guests. It was one of the guests they had that was actually explaining the rules. And then they were explaining the whole guy from the sideline and who's calling the ball and who got the ball, spot of the foul. And he explained that the guy that got the ball, the other ref said that he had a better angle of it, which we all know is false because he had his back to him. And he said that is based off a guess because if you can't see the ball, then you know the ball's at his hip. And if his hip didn't pass the line, the guy was just making excuses of why they missed that play. Why they missed that play is because they, first of all, didn't bring out the chain gang on 2 occasions, the Kincaid catch and the Josh Allen catch. And the third thing is that the guy waved his arms up that saw his back, establishing that he had the spot of the foul. So that made Josh Allen turn around, give the ball to him rather than the guy that saw Josh Allen's front where the ball was, and the ball would have been spotted accordingly. So it was just, I believe it was just a call.
What about Drew Tranquil running into the line judge to get him off the center line of the actual ball?
I mean, there was a lot. There was a lot that went into it, but the guy said basically the eye in the sky is going to call it now, which is no different than what they did when they called up to New York and figured it out. So
we talked about this last week, dude. In tennis, there is a chip in the tennis ball that is going way faster than a football, that is getting whacked with a paddle as hard as you possibly can.
Hundreds of miles
per hour.
And it withstands it all.
And literally their replays are 3 seconds. They're like, let's check that. And it's boop, like right there, in or out. That's it. Like you can't do that for the highest grossing sport in the whole world. You can't put a chip in the nose of the ball and have it recorded where it is within at least, I don't care, 2 inches. I don't care. That's enough slack. My dad was a foreman at a machine shop for 40 years, dude. A 2-inch tolerance, he would have been praying to the gods of how great that was. You know what I mean? He was talking about thousandths of an inch. Give me a break. There's no way. I think, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist. You guys know this, man. I think that it's the drama of it all. It's the they this conversation, right? It's this conversation of being like, that's wrong, that's right. What do you mean? Didn't you see this? I saw that. Like all the armchair GMs, all the coaches, everything. Like you can have this discussion all during the off season when you could fix it so easily. There's no way that you could not fix it so easily. I don't know. The thing is, like, it's gotten so far the other way, like to where people think the refs are like fixing games. Like for the Chiefs, people think, you know, well, the home team gets this, blah, blah, blah. It's always been like whispers, and now it's like front and center. And people, I think, are really taking into account that like this isn't fair.
I think Swank too, and I always feared this, that the sports betting. You know, I think the sports betting is a big part of it too. For not the better. You know what I mean? I would say it's actually hurt the game in a lot of ways, you know, in terms of moments like that. It causes even more of an uproar when people have money on the line, any kind of money on the line. And, you know, these aren't small bets that are being thrown around these days for these NFL games. So it's, to me, to Scooter's point, you know, they missed that. Like my biggest takeaway from that whole situation, and I'll say this, you know, whenever I think back on it, they missed that first down call because they just did not care. Like there's no way that you could miss a call that badly if you actually cared about your job. Like, it's just, we all have to perform at our jobs in one way or another. We have to be on our P's and Q's. What makes us different from National Football League referees that they're part-timers? They're not even full-time, workers. They're getting paid part-time. There's just so many things that I think Roger Goodell and company could fix that would solve the problem. But to Swank's point, they won't, because they enjoy conversations like this. It's actually good. What's bad publicity is good publicity for the National Football League.
Any publicity, man. And really, like, when you're dialing it down that far, right? Like Roger Goodell, we talk about all this stuff where it's like, who's really in charge? There's 32 people that are in charge. That's
the owners.
It's all the owners.
Yep.
All of this is for the owners' benefit. Any rule change, anything that there's a discussion in a cave in a mountain with these 32 guys multiple times a year, and all they want is your money, and something that we care about so much. Like, to me, if you were an honest earner and an owner that wanted to make the game so pure and have it so great for your fans, why wouldn't you just want it to be as straightforward, fair as you possibly could? Like, let's pay these refs. Let's get microchips. Let's go. Let's make it. I don't care if the game is 5 hours long. More commercials. Great for the just get it right.
Yeah, bigger cap next year.
Why wouldn't you want to?
Debbie Emerton says the technology's there.
Yeah.
The salary cap continues to rise, and it's going to continue to rise. I don't see a year where it's going to go down in the next 20 years, maybe even more.
Right. I agree.
Yo, can we address the elephant in the room? Did Jerry just bounced, right?
He said his battery was running low, so I don't know if that was a situation. I haven't got a text from him yet.
It was like his fiance battery.
His Irish goodbye.
He's like, I'd at least played it off a little bit. I said, so what I think about this rule,
Yeah, dude. So, can you guys hear me?
rather than this.
He goes to tell a joke, knock, knock, and we say, who's there? And then he's just gone.
Yeah. Patrick Hughes says Jarrod reached his word count.
How many times you guys him, dude? Is
there wasn't a lot of today. But no, great conversation, Swank. Thanks for coming in at the end here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
So,
awesome.
Sorry if I elongated. I was stoked though. I got out and I was like, oh man, now let's push back. Maybe I can get in a little bit.
Get in
here. Yeah.
Well, Swank will be back next week, everyone, and we will have guest Mark Maddox joining us.
Hell yeah.
We'll talk about all things Buffalo Bills, fan first perspective. Thanks, guys, for joining. Again, we are part of the Buff Fan Base Network and sponsored by 26 Shirts. The Bills Mafia kicked ass today with the comments. We love you guys. Final thoughts real quick from both of you. Swank, I know you're only here for 15 minutes, but I'm sure you got a final thought here. RT, we'll start with you. Give us your final thought and tell people where they could find you and let them know about tomorrow's show.
Yeah, final thoughts. Of course, always appreciate the invitation to hop on the K-Gun Report. Really looking forward to this upcoming season. Of course, Sunday sessions, K-Gun, all good things. Thomas Take Sports Podcast tomorrow night, Wednesday at 8 live. Really excited to hop on and dive into the NFL draft, dive into some headlines throughout the league. Does anyone really want Aaron Rodgers? That's a question that I think is worthy to be asked, especially moments after the New York Giants decide to sign the newly minted, as I called him in the chat, journeyman quarterback Russell Wilson. I never thought I'd refer to Russell Wilson as a journeyman. I feel bad saying that, to be quite honest, but nice guys finished last, unfortunately, and he's on to his third or fourth team in 2-3 years. So it's been a ride for Russell Wilson, but I'm going to dive into a lot of different topics: Bills, NFL draft. Really looking forward to tomorrow night's show.
Sweet. So am I.
Sick.
What's up, Swank?
Guys, apologize for my absence. Do this open mic thing every month, and it's been going very, very gangbusters for my musical endeavors. So appreciate you guys treating my boys, Scooter and Jerry, with a ton of respect and love. Appreciate you, RT, for stopping in and filling this whole void, man. Yeah, guys, man, just enjoy the fun that is happening right now. It's all this like new energy, right? We've forgotten about the playoffs. We've forgotten about the Super Bowl. It's a new season right now. So go forward, be stoked. I think there's going to be some crazy, crazy trades that happen this draft. I just have it in the back of my long hair brain.
Yeah, because all 32 teams have their first round pick. That's never happened in the NFL. So we'll see some trades. I believe that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I believe BBB's got every pick in the whole draft, I think, right now, right? Like the most picks out of everybody. So I don't know, man. Be stoked. We got a draft show coming up here
Yep.
in a couple weeks. It'll be a fun time. You'll see the three of us plus the other guy that looks like Scooter. We're going to eat some pizza, drink some beer, make some predictions, have some good times. Also, I wanted to do some shameless self-promotion. My band, the Endless Mountain Derelicts, is going to be in Buffalo. If you live in Buffalo, man, April 9th, if you want to come out to Riverworks, we're opening for our good friend Jackson Stokes all the way from St. Louis, Missouri. A little blues, a little rock and roll, and then we're some rowdy folks from right here in central New York. Yeah, so come hang out, say hi, and I know RT's coming. I'm going to try and get Scooter to come. I know Scooter has a very tight schedule in his life, but I believe if I push hard enough, he probably still won't come, but I'm going to try. I'm really going to try.
Well, you know what? If Scooter's not there, I'm just going to send him pictures of my beer in hand and of us straight. Yes. And we'll be like, hey, where
are you?
Yeah, you're not here. I'm sorry.
I know my boy Corey Blaine's going to be there. We got Buffalo Spartan and those guys. But hey, if you're in Buffalo and you got $15,
oh, Corey's going to be there.
Corey's coming out, man.
Oh, snap!
It's a sleepover, I think, at like Spartan headquarters.
The roof is going to blow off of that place for sure.
But yeah, if you are around and you could and you want to come say hi, please do that. Other than that, man, I'm stoked to have Mark on next week.
Oh yeah,
it'll be a full regular ass K-Gun report. Go Bills. That's all. That's all.
Yeah. Final thoughts here, guys. Yeah, for real. The K-Gun report, 8:30 every Tuesday, Standard Eastern time. Mark Maddox on the show next week, and hit up the page. Check out our page. We got a lot of stuff going on as far as the Did You Knows, the draft prospects, the big board profiles. And hey, remember, it's all fan first perspective. So we're just a bunch of Bills fans here talking Buffalo Bills football. Can't wait. Tune in to the Fanbase Network. Watch all their shows, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Till then, go Bills.
Go Bills.
It's like I do your go Bills, but here you go, buddy. You out. You.
City, black country.